Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Carl! Carl! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, Carl! We've all done the worst kinds of things just to stay alive. Your ways gonna destroy this place. It's gonna get people killed. It's already gotten people killed. Now I'm not gonna stand by and just let it happen. Your way of doing things is done. Yo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Walking Dead style tier list. Motherfuckers. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you're having a great night. Whatever time you're watching the video. I have done 3 Walking Dead tier lists before. I've done a Walking Dead characters, which by the way got over 100,000 views. Holy shit, thank you so fucking much for that. That was insane to see. I appreciate it. I love all the support on it, all the comments, whether you're calling me a piece of shit or you enjoyed the video. I appreciate every single part of it. That was my Walking Dead's characters tier list. I did a Rick Grimes tier list on the phases he goes through, and I did a Walking Dead deaths character tier list based on sadness. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, we have another Walking Dead deaths. But on that video, I can't remember what the comment was, and I'm not sure I'll be able to find it. But I believe someone else gave me this idea in the comments. They said, Alex, you should rank the Walking Dead deaths again, but based on the brutality of the death. If that wasn't actually commented though, I actually just did think of this myself. But it was either me thinking of it or someone said it in a comment. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're ranking. It's the same tier list as the deaths video. I believe this tier list only goes up to season 10, but I'm not gonna lie. After that, I don't really give a fuck. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because, you know, some characters that are not as good as others are going to be higher on this list because they might have had a more brutal death. Do you know what I mean? So I think this is going to be a very interesting concept. So before we get into the tiers, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, smack the subscribe button on the face, turn on notification bell, leave a like on the video, and drop a comment down below if you want more Walking Dead style stuff. The top tier, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be called Put Me Out of My Misery, bruh! And what I mean by that is if I was in that situation, I just want to be put out of my misery. That shit is horrendous. That is the worst way to fucking go. So that is that top tier. Under that, we just got, man, that shit was brutal. That was brutal. That was a brutal death. That is high up on the list. Under that, we got goddamn. That was not a nice death to watch. I can imagine that's pretty shitty, but it's not the top 2. Under that, we got mid as fuck. It's just mid. It was a mid death, you know? It was like, oh, whatever. I can brush it off. It's not memorable. It's aight. Under that, we got wasn't that bad. And don't get me wrong, there is no type of death that isn't that bad. In terms of the style and the theme of the show, this shit wasn't that bad, like, compared to others. And under that, we got boring odd death. Depending on what type of character it is, that also will play a part into this type of death, because if I'm not as intrigued into the character, no matter how they die, I might class it as boring. So let's all remember that this is my fucking list. So yeah, that's all my tiers. And just one more thing, I might not be able to remember everybody's name and how they died, so I might have to quickly do a Google search. I'll probably edit that out anyway. However, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Okay, first up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Amy. She was bit on the arm and then she turned. Don't get me wrong, it's the first death, so it could be moved. It could be moved. I'm thinking mid as fuck. You know, it's a zombie show. People are gonna get bit. That's mid as fuck. Don't get me wrong. Something chomping on your arm and taking a fat chunk and then slowly bleeding out, dying to an infection. That sucks dick. That sucks more dick than a porn star. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I don't know. For a zombie show, it was kind of mid. It was just more sad for the other people's reaction. Pre-level death, you know? It's a very cliche. You get bit by a zombie, you turn into a zombie. They didn't know about the amputee thing yet. Why would they? It's season 1. Amy, you're going to mid for now, but again, there's always room to move. Do you know what I mean? Next up, we got Jim. Sort of similar to Amy. See, sometimes it can be hard because it also, how the death can make you feel or how brutal is how they filmed it and how they showed it. Jim was bit, like, I believe it was his stomach area, and then he was just sort of like having a fever, and then they just left him by a tree. Me personally, it wasn't a put me out of my misery bruh death, but I would have rather have been put out of my fucking misery. Like, they literally just left him to die. I like going through like a fever and like feeling like no, just fucking cap me in the dome, dude. I like teabag me after if you want, but just fucking annihilate me. Not gonna lie, I think just because of the way his death was shot a bit more peacefully. I mean, you could technically put it in boring death. You know, he was bit in the tummy, and then he was left by a tree. He was a nice dude, and I think the way that they filmed it, it wasn't boring, but like in terms of a death, the fuck ass laid by a tree. I'm leaving him in boring. For now. But that's no disrespect to Jim. If anything, that's actually nice for Jim, because for some of these bitches, the death was so horrendous that I would have rather it been Jim. You know, chilling by a tree, waiting to turn, rather than... There's a death in my mind that I know is number one already, guys. I know what my most brutal death is in here. And I feel like a lot of you are gonna know it as well. But I'm not gonna get to that just yet. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have... I can't remember his name. He went to... I believe it was season 4. Like when they went to that thing where the helicopter was on top of the building and it fell through. I think Bob put like a wine back on the shelf. The shelf fell. I believe this fuck ass just got bit in the leg. And then they had to like leave him. No, he got bit in the leg and then he started getting ripped apart. Yeah, not gonna lie, that's a goddamn. No, that's a goddamn. Because don't get me wrong, yeah, he got bit. He got bit in the leg and then he got dragged down. And then I think they just feasted on his ass. So I think that's a pretty goddamn. It could go up to brutal because getting ripped apart whilst you're alive is pretty fucking brutal. But I can't remember obviously every single death off the bat. The more deaths we get in here, hold on, Fortnite mini. The more deaths we get in here, the more we'll be able to level it out and compare it to each other. But for now, that's a goddamn. Because that shit would have sucked ass. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we got Martinez. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Martinez was swung in the back of the head with a golf club. By the way, that shit's gotta suck. That would hurt so fucking bad. And then I believe the governor just dragged his concussed body, and he was stumbling around and shit, to the pit of walkers. And then I think he just dropped him in it. The golf club is in itself fucking hurts. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've never had that, but I can imagine. Martinez, my friend, you are in brutal. Which is also a shame, because I feel like as the show went on a bit more, you started to like him a little more. Nothing to any crazy extent. Like, I didn't cry. I didn't get that upset. I was just like, damn. But I do think the golf swing being dragged, held in front of the pit, and then dropped into what, like 12 of them bitches just to suck on your meat? It's crazy. It's crazy. And they definitely use teeth as well. So cheese grated by zombies is absolutely diabolical. Martinez, may you rest in piss. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have, I don't remember her name. It's the governor's like stepdaughter in the second half of season 4, whenever he gets with that one shawty, and she's playing in the dirt. By the way, the mom is not watching her. I know the mom's focused on a walker in the lake, but brother cannot swim. They're miles away. She's playing in the dirt. She's not giving a shit. Why are you that? If it's just you two, why is your daughter that far away in the first place in an open wooded area? Do you know what I mean? Like, and as we have seen by the way the show is shot, zombies actually come out of thin air. Like, they'll be walking in a trail and the zombies like up next to their face before they've even heard it. Like, I don't know if they got silent footstep on or some shit, or it's Kavira as a zombie. I don't know. Why is that a bad mothering in my opinion? But yeah, she like gets bit by a zombie that comes out of the dirt. I think it bites her in the arm, and then she takes the daughter to the governor, and the governor pops her in the head. And then she, you know, it's sort of the same as Amy. Yeah, like the shit would have hurted. I guess as well, because it's a little girl, it is more brutal in my opinion. You know, it's a child. That is more brutal. I think that can play a bit of a factor into this bitch. Next up, we got this kid. I can't remember his name. Patrick? Is it Patrick? I think it was Patrick. He was the first? Was he the first to die due to that infection? He died in the shower, turned, and then bit everyone else. It started something. I'd say it wasn't that bad. Yo, why is my PC crashing out? My tier list, what the fuck? Is all these ads on the side? Yeah, Patrick was the first to die. I'm gonna say not that bad, because I don't know, like, it wasn't that bad. Don't get me wrong, dying to an illness and suffering the symptoms just before your death, that has gotta suck dick. But people do that in real life. You know, people die due to symptoms of horrible shit. So I'd say, you know, it's for the scale of the show, it's a pretty normal death. Or no, it's a pretty below normal death. It's not that bad. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the the cocky prick. I hated this dude. I can't remember his name. Who had the tank with the governor. Yeah, he was just that cocky soldier. I didn't like him at all. I think I actually started rubbing my clit when he died. I believe Daryl just shot him with a crossbow. Now, as nice as that was to see, it's hard because it was more, but it's based off brutality, Alex. It's based off brutality. I think I'd rather die to a fucking symptoms of a cold, though, rather than take some crossbows and just slowly bleed out. Yeah, I would rather die to symptoms than a crossbow, because that shit gotta hurt. I'm not gonna cap. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. I'm leaving him there. He can just go just above Patrick, but it wasn't that bad. Again, scale of the show, pretty basic. Next up, this motherfucker hurts. Yeah. This is the death that made Rick go, no! And then whip out the revolver. Hold on. This isn't my revolver. I don't have a revolver. I don't even know where I got this. But as the governor sliced Herschel's neck, no! And then it came out, and governor got popped in the arm. Because here's the thing, right? If the governor took it off with one clean sweep, I maybe it would have been brutal. You know, it lights out real quick. For the people watching that shit, that is awful. But for Herschel, it might have been lights out real quick. But the fact it was like, have you seen, what's that ghost from Harry Potter? Nearly Headless Nick? Where he just fucking, like, pulls his head and it's hanging on by, like, a thread? Herschel, he cut, like, 80% of it and left 20% for Herschel to fucking turn into a Funko Pop. Like, what the fuck is your problem, Brian? Dude, fuck that shit. And then, not only that, whenever his whole shit was, like, dangling, he was crawling away. Why are you crawling? Nothing can fix that. Let him, and then the governor found him and finished it off. Yeah, not gonna lie, put me out of my bitchin' misery. Fuck that. Not only was he a go-to character, that was horrendous way to go. By the way, that's not my number one. Trust me, hold on. Can I see my number one on here? I can see my number one on here. And it's relatively soon. It's relatively soon. I think that's my number one anyway. Yeah, governor, it's gotta be put me out of my misery. Again, I think if it was that clean swipe, it might have gone brutal, but nah, that shit might have been a little fucked up. That was fucked up. Next up was the governor. Now, how the governor died, if for anyone that forgets, Michonne basically turned him into a kebab. As he was choking out Daddy Rick in Missionary, bit too much, may I say, she just came up behind and put that shit straight through his chest. For such an impactful character and what he did, not as brutal death as a lot of people probably think he deserved. I mean, don't get me wrong, sword through the chest gotta hurt, and then he was left to bleed out. But then that shawty came over and shot him. Now, I have beef with that shawty because she ended his suffering. You know, for all the damage he did, he deserved that suffering, that bleeding out. So I'm gonna put, would I rather bleed out to a machete? Yeah, I'm not being, thing is though, he was ripped apart. I think after him, I would rather have a machete through my chest and just slowly bleed out than be ripped apart limb by limb whilst I'm still alive. Yeah, 100%. Fuck that shit. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have, one of the little sisters. How the fuck did she die? Is it Mika? It is Mika. I'm right. How did Mika die? Upon their return, oh my god, Lizzie killed her. Fucking Lizzie killed her, yeah. Yeah, we didn't see Lizzie stab her. We just saw her corpse on the floor. I don't know. It is pretty brutal to be murdered by your own sister with a knife. Now this is where it's gonna get a little tricky for me. What would I rather? What the fuck would I rather? I think I'm gonna do mid. It's a child, though. It's a fucking child. Yeah. Maybe here, I think knife is a little better than zombie. Like, just being torn open with teeth is gotta fucking hurt, like flesh. Whereas the knife might have been quicker. Yeah, we'll do that. Next up, oh my fucking god. What I did to this son of a bitch is one of the most hold on, my PC's fucking up. Yo! PC, stop! You're interrupting my dramatic effect. Holy shit, can I can't drag him. I'm gonna get my cock out. I'm gonna fucking fuck the shit out of my PC. Anyway, what I was saying is what I did to Joe, aka this pussy, that shit was brutal. Is it gonna move? Is it gonna move? Why is it? There we go. It moved. It moved. It moved. Can you imagine a grown-ass man, the greatest main character of TV history, chomp onto your neck unexpectedly and not make out with it? And instead of make out with your neck in a seductive way, chomps his teeth into your neck, rips out the side of your neck with full force, spits out what he took out as you fall to the ground and choke on your own blood. Not only was I rock solid watching it, but I had to stroke my shit. And it was the best death to watch. It was one of the best scenes of the entire show. Top 3, 2, 1 Rick Grimes moment of my life. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's not as brutal as Herschel. I think they're both vile, but Herschel I still think is a little worse. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we then have the fat shit that Rick guts after biting Joe's throat. You know, whenever Michonne's, "Let the boy go!" And Rick, obviously, with one of my favorite lines of the show, "He's mine," and just calmly walks over. The guy even lets go of Carl, starts jiggling in worry. "Let me go, man. Here, you can have him. You can have him." Rick moves Carl and says, "I don't give a fuck about him for a minute. I'm gonna take this knife and gut you like the fat shit you are." And just guts him, and then he drops to his knees, and as he's pulled up the knife, he takes it out and then just starts ramming it. Beauty upon men. What? Beauty upon my eyes. That shit, not gonna lie, being gutted like a fish, and as you're screaming, he just won't stop. That shit was brutal. That was more brutal than Martinez in my ooh. No, I keep forgetting being ripped open. I think I'd rather his death than his. But Martinez being ripped open and by so many, it's insane. But yeah, being gut like a fish is crazy. He will go there. But that was such a beautiful death to watch. Especially because bro was gonna touch up Carl. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? But yeah, let me, again, you guys can put in your 2 cents in the comments if you think that you would rather be gut by Rick Grimes. I mean, I'd rather Rick Grimes touch me too. But like, I don't know, being hit with a golf club and then dragged into a pit is just crazy in my opinion. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have this character. I can't remember his name. He was the one, I think he's the one that got Lori killed. You know, whenever Rick trapped him in the courtyard and Rick was like, "You better run." And then he managed to get away and then set off the alarm and then got fucking Lori killed. Well, sort of, like, you know what I mean. And then, but how he died, they found him, and then the bigger guy, the bigger inmate, what was his name? I was actually quite sad when he died. He shot him and then gave Rick back his gun, is to say, like, "Look, I'm on your guys' team." Yeah, he just got shot. That boring aw death. Boring aw death for a boring aw character, bruh. Next up is Bob. Yo, where do I begin? So what do you guys think? How should I calculate this? Because Bob died from being bit. Do you know what I mean? His death, he got bit and then he just died to the fever. But the lead up to his death was crazy. So he gets bit, gets knocked the fuck out, wakes up with no leg, watches said individuals eat said leg, then proceeds to be knocked the fuck out again, by the way, then proceeded to be dumped on the doorstep like an unwanted baby. You guys have to let me know, because don't get me wrong, I don't want to disrespect the character in any way. Bob is one of the great characters of the show. But am I just ranking the being bit and then bleed and then dying to the fever? Because that is what killed him. He did suffer some bad shit during his thing, but but that didn't play into his death. Do you know what I mean? So like, if it's just being bit, it's gonna be in mid. But then the events would probably be, I mean, having your leg, watching put me out of my misery. I want to make the right decision here. And I don't want to make the more dramatic decision just because he's such a good character. Do you know what I mean? If it's just the fever, I think I'd put it after the governor. Like here, maybe, just after the governor, you know, because being bit is like, but it wasn't a mid-death. But if we add in the leg thing, oh my God, it was brutal. It for sure was brutal. But that wasn't his death. It was just the writers being fucked up. I mean, it was satisfying whenever he showed the people eating his leg, "I've been bit, you sorry pricks," or something like that. That was satisfying. Yeah, I think I'd rather just be bit, though, than be ripped apart. That's also a thing. Like, his death, being bit on the leg, dragged to the floor, and being ripped apart, that's so much worse. You know what? I'm gonna leave Bob there. But again, no disrespect. If you disagree with me, or you think I should have added in all the horrendous factors, yo, let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Gareth. Again, again, sort of like Joe, one of the most satisfying dick rubbing, clit rubbing, penis waggling deaths that you can see within this show. I already made you a promise, and he just gets out the red-handled machete after being promised top 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Rick Grimes coldest moments, dude. Yeah, Gareth is definitely up there. The thing is, how with the full force and how much Rick was swinging at him, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that would have been a lot of a quicker death than the fat shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, the guy was screaming as Rick slowly moved up the knife. Whereas the machete, I feel like after like 2 or 3 hits, Gareth was gone. Rick just kept going out of anger. Bush Rick kept fucking going. I think that's a fair slot. It was one of the awesome deaths to watch of the show. I feel like he went pretty fast, but I also still wouldn't want a machete. But then, being ripped apart again. Yo, should we move up this kid? Instead of moving Gareth down, should we just move him like here? Hold on, let my PC just jerk its meat for a minute. Having a machete through you though is crazy. This was 100% slower. Look, you know what? I'm gonna go. This is tough. This is really tough. It's either Gareth at the top of goddamn or top of brutal. I'm gonna go goddamn for now. I'm gonna go goddamn for now. Look, can you guys see this shit? He's frozen. What is my pewter doing? Pewter. Like, what are you doing? Thank you. Next up is, what was her name? Is it Dawn? I hated this bitch. I'm so glad she got capped in the head. So I'm gonna put it in boring death. It wasn't boring to watch. Like, the scene wasn't boring, but she just got shot in the head by the goat. And I'm actually gonna leave her last, just out of pure disrespect, because I fucking hate her. So, yeah, she can stay there. Beth, very, very similar. She was just shot in the head. Sad scene, all that sort of stuff. But it's lights out quick. I'm gonna put her out of respect, because all these were shot. She can go at the front of boring death. Fuck. This next one hurts so bad. This next one hurts so fucking bad, dude. The Walking Dead was wrong for this one, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Out of, like, all the deaths, this is, like, a very overseen one. This one fucking hurt so bad. I couldn't tell you how fucking sad I was when I thought they were gonna get him, like, save him by chopping off his arm, and they just pulled over the car and they just get out. Like, it was so intense. The hallucinations he was having, and then it cuts to Rick holding his fucking arm. Do it now! And then Michonne just clean swipe. And then it like shows his first person view of Rick going, come on, man, you gotta hold on! And he's just suffering. He's bit in the arm, but he's hallucinating. And his arm gets chopped off, and then he just bleeds out in the car. Or it might have been the fever that killed him because it took him so long. I don't know. I think it might have been a mix of both. Fuck. But it's not about how much it hurt. It's about how brutal it was. Bit in the arm and then just suffering for that long. And the way they shot it as well, dude. Like, they just made it so much more dramatic. I think I'd rather Gareth's death. I'm gonna put this shit in brutal. I think it was. I don't know. Am I being biased? You're bit in the arm. You're bleeding out for that long. You're suffering. Your homeboys chop your arm off with a goddamn samurai sword. And then not only that, you're bleeding out from the arm that was bitten. You're suffering still, and then you die. I'd rather, because Gareth was faster. That was faster because he got put out of his misery. Again, Bob was sad. Yeah, I think that's fair. And you know what? Maybe some bias is coming into it, but I don't care because I love Tyrese. Next up, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's a wrap. Holy shit! The worst, and I mean worst death of the show. My boy Noah was done so fucking dirty. I remember when I've seen the show multiple times. Every time that comes up, I skip it. Not only can I not watch one of the nicest characters die, but one of the nicest characters die in such a way that out of all the gore, out of everything that happens in the show, after seeing Glenn's eye out of his fucking socket, I can still watch all of that shit. But watching Noah in a fucking turn door, trapped with all of them after saying, don't let me go, or something like that. And they just rip him from every square inch of his body. His face, they grab like the inside of his cheek and just, no, absolutely fucking not. That, in my opinion, is the most brutal and unnecessary death of the show. I wanted Noah to last and probably until the end of the show. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Noah to last. I cannot watch that death because whenever you see a death, I feel sometimes in the show, you try and picture what it would be like to be in that situation. And motherfucker, I would do anything. I would do any other death in the show rather than that one. That is disgusting. Number one, put me out of my misery, bruh. Nah, as a matter of fact, put Noah out of it. I'm not gonna lie, the nicer thing in that moment, I don't know if Glenn could have. I can't remember if they ran out of ammo. Oh, he's also the reason that I hate Nicholas so much. Like when Glenn found him, was punching. Yo, that's one of Glenn's biggest mistakes. He should have put Nicholas out of his misery or fed him to the walkers like the governor did with Martina. Glenn should have done something so outrageously brutal to Nicholas, dude, for what he got caused with Noah. Because generally, if you watch that, Noah did not need to die like that. I don't know. If I was Glenn in that moment, it's so... no, you couldn't have because the glass would have broke. I was just going to say, empty the clip through the glass and just... put Noah out of his misery, dude. Like, that's what that would have been the kindest thing to do. I don't know. I feel like that was an unnecessary death. Next up is Diane's husband, Pete, who's funnily enough next, pushed him, and as he pushed him, he was holding the samurai sword and just slit his throat. And then he bled out. Yeah, that's rough. That's a goddamn. I think that's worse than Gareth. I think that's worse. Hold on, let my PC stop tweaking. I think that's worse than Gareth. Gareth, again, I think would have gone pretty quick. A samurai sword slitting your throat. And then you sat there, and the amount of blood that was pouring out. I would rather everything below it, I think. No, absolutely not. That is a goddamn. Next up is Pete. Again, out of disrespect, he's gonna go at the bottom, but he was just capped. Rick just... By the way, I love that scene. The funniest thing about that scene is Rick's millisecond hesitation. He's literally looking at Diana like a puppy waiting for permission to eat the food. He's like, Rick, do it. Finally. Hold on. Literally the quickest, most no emotion. He was waiting for permission his whole life for that shit. And honestly, go watch the scene again. It's the funniest thing. After seeing his throat slit, Rick is he's looking at Diane like this. Can I do it now? Like, honestly, but yeah, he's going bottom out of disrespect. Next up is the piece of shit that got Noah killed, Nicholas. He just shot himself. Boring death, and again, out of disrespect. I really don't like Don. But he shot himself. Whatever. Out of his own misery. Good riddance, bruh. Next up is, I believe this was the girl that Tyrese was with at the prison, and I think she got the illness first, and then Carol stabbed her in her sleep and then burned her alive to keep the infection. That's not that bad. You're asleep, someone just stabs you, lights out. Burning the body's a bit of disrespect, but she had her reasonings. That's not that bad. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of not that bad. But you're still being stabbed in your sleep and burned alive. Whereas I think being shot is a lot more quicker, because as soon as she's being stabbed, she might have woken up, felt something, and then died. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But, again, if you think I'm wrong, let me know. Next up is, this is the governor. By the way, props to the governor with one eye. I think the opposite eye as well. Hold on. The opposite eye as well hits him from that distance with a pistol that fucking clean in front of Carol. Like, immaculate aim, may I say. But, again, I liked him, though. I liked him. But it's a boring death. Didn't want it to happen to him. Poor guy. Poor guy. Was it Axel, I think his name was? Next up is, yeah, this one's pretty shit. I can't lie. They told you wasn't ready. And then all you had to do was shut the fuck up. I think I said this in a previous tier list. They should have done to him what they did to Judith. They should have done to him what they did to Judith. Put him under his mom's robe so he didn't have to see shit. If he had any inkling that he was not going to be okay, that's what they should have done. And then he just froze and then got everyone killed. Well, majority. He got his mom killed. He got himself killed. He got his brother stabbed through the heart. And he got Carl shot in the eye. It was a chain reaction due to this pussy. Now, maybe Carol influenced it a bit. But I'm not putting that on her. Yeah, he was ripped apart. That's insane. That's so brutal. Yeah, it was brutal. He's a kid. It was brutal. I know I'm making jokes, but, I think I would rather have Tyrese's death I think it depends who was ripped apart more between, I'm gonna put him above this guy. Whenever my PC stops jorking it, I'm gonna put it and then put him behind. Has that done it? Or do I have to load up Jerkmate? It has. There we go. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have his brother. Again, very similar to the governor. Now, I actually think this is worse than the governor because he was stabbed through the heart, left there to die, and then be feasted on. I rest my case. Next is, what's her name? Is it Denise? No, who am I mixing up? Either way, she was the one that was, like, giving, like, this mega cringe speech to, like, Daryl and Rosita. You're strong because, I don't know, I thought it was cringe. It was cringing me out. No, like, sometimes I appreciate she was a nice person. I just wish she would shut the fuck up. Shot through the eye with a crossbow. Like, it literally just came straight through, cut her off mid-sentence. Thank God, by the way. And then she just dropped. It must have been pretty quick, though. Yeah, I think that's on the lower end, because I think it would have been a quick. But then she kept talking before she fell, so maybe she felt that shit go through her eye. It was brutal, I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather her death, I think, than being bit in the arm and then just suffering. Yeah, I'm gonna put her death at the back of mid. Again, if you guys disagree, let me know. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most overlooked and saddest deaths of the show is my boy Abraham. I'm so sad he had to go that way. He did not deserve to go that way. And like, just everything about this scene was so sad, man. He was holding up his peace sign, but I feel bad. He died thinking he sacrificed himself for everyone, and then a couple seconds later, another homeboy was taken from us. He's actually next as well. I every time I think about the scene, or I watch the episode, because it is honestly like the best episode of the whole show. Hold on. I forgot my Rick watch. Give me a minute. Oh, I forgot. I just noticed. I was trying to look. I forgot my silver watch. I always try and imagine what it would feel like to have a baseball bat with barbed wire around it. Hold on. I can actually show you what it would fucking feel like to have said a baseball bat with barbed wire around it, by the way, hit your top of your head at full force by a grown-ass man. And I think Negan is a pretty big dude as well. Like, he's a big grown-ass man. So, I don't know. Like, that shit, like, I always try and think, is that such a severe impact that you don't feel it at all? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the impact was so painful, so fast, so hard that you just lose all nerves. And then you just kind of sat there like, you're not even aware. Do you know what I mean? But if you can feel that shit, yeah, sorry, Herschel. I would rather, be cleanly sliced than have a... That is not where I put blood. I would rather be cleanly sliced and then crawling and then finished off quickly, rather than... Don't get me wrong, Abraham... Motherfucker, that is not where I put it! Abraham, don't get me wrong... What? That, like, Abraham, don't get me, he was finished off kind of quickly, but he took some hella hits. And like, again, it's the constant hits, the bleeding, and Abraham, to be fair, he probably could feel it. I mean, he definitely did feel it, but afterwards he got hit, he said, "Suck my nuts." By the way, probably the greatest line in the whole show. Yeah, that shit is brutal. Now, is it as brutal as having the same treatment, as well as the back of your head after you've hit the floor, not being as big as a guy to be able to take it, and your eye socket, motherfucker, this tier list is gonna make me crash out. There we go. And having your eye socket popping out whilst they're still trying to mutter to the love of your life, who's pregnant, by the way. Yeah, that's insane. Some of the most insane shit I have ever seen. I think, even though Abraham is overlooked a lot, I still think Glenn had it more, like, suffering. Don't get me wrong, they have to give him a put me out of my misery death because they're like the biggest characters of the show. I don't know, like, Abraham just like bled from here, got his skull split, and then just got turned into mush. They both got turned into mush. But Glenn, being a lot smaller and slimmer guy, naturally I don't think he's gonna be able to... Nobody can tank that shit, but he's not gonna... I mean, you could clearly tell. He popped his head like a fucking watermelon, and then his eye was sticking out whilst he was trying to talk. He was shaking like this. "Maggie, I'll find you." What the fuck? That is the most dirty way to do one of the best characters of the show. Oh my god, like, I've seen people's reactions on YouTube, the amount of people that burst into tears. Now, I think I would still rather that than Noah. I don't know if it's just because I've got this image in my head of, like, I can't watch Noah's death. You can let me know if you think Abraham and Glenn is worse than Noah. Like, I fully respect that. But I don't know. I feel like this would be so painful that it would be over a lot quicker than what Noah went through. Noah got his face ripped. He was being bit in like 8 different places. Yeah, fuck that. But Glenn, yeah, that's insane. The next woman, I can't remember her name, but she was the one that was a victim to a fat joke by Negan. But it was a funny joke. Shawty, she was just shot, wasn't she? He was just like, I can't remember her name, but like they disobeyed Negan. And he just goes like, say her name was Michelle. He just goes, Michelle, kill somebody. And she just turns and shoots her. And then after her perish, disrespects Shawty again by saying that it was a hell of a mouth to feed. Because she's obviously of a bigger lady. Yeah, again, she was just shot. She was nice though. We'll put her after Axel. Yeah. Next up was Spencer. He deserved it. I didn't like Spencer. Should have kept Glenn's name out of his mouth. I think Rick should have done something to Spencer. I think Rick would have done something to Spencer if it wasn't due to his respect for Spencer's mom. I didn't like Spencer once throughout the whole show. When he was gone, I was actually clapping up and down like this. I was a giddy boy. But that was brutal. He had a knife so large, you might be able to class it as a machete straight into his gut whilst Negan's cracking jokes like Spider-Man. Slits open his stomach and his whole digestive system pops out onto the floor for everyone to look at and he just bleeds out. That's insane. I think that's worse than his dad. I don't think it's as bad as... It's worse than Tyrese. I'll put him there. For some reason, I have this thing in my head. I think being ripped apart by multiple walkers is horrendous. So I think I'd rather stare at my guts and bleed out than be ripped apart by those things. Whereas again, it was like a quick sweep, guts fall out, bleed out. Whereas the fat guy that was touching up Carl was in fact straight up gutted for an elonged period amount of time. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, I can't remember his name. He was the one that I think was training with Morgan with the staff. He was shot in the leg and he bled out. And it was some other guy's fault. Did the other guy did he die? Is he on here? I can't remember if it was his fault that he died. Yeah, he's here. He's here. This guy, it was his fault. He fucked up the trade with the Saviors for the melons, but he wanted him to get shot. He wanted to take the blame for it and put it out of his misery, which I don't know why he'd risk everyone else's life like that. I don't know why, if he's so upset, I can't remember the reasoning, but why not just do it yourself? Like, I'm not saying you should do that, but like, you literally just got someone else killed with a shitty tactic. I don't understand the thought process. So yeah, he just got shot and bled out. But again, it was just being shot. But he was nice. I'll put him above Axel. Next, ladies and gentlemen, was Sasha. I'm not gonna lie. After Sasha lost Abraham, Bob, Tyrese, I really think that she just wanted to go. Ever since losing all those people, her attitude and mood and everything was just so down. And rightfully so for the rest of the show. Like, don't get me wrong, those influence her to make some stupid decisions or not be the best like person at times, I thought, but like I can see why he's so pissed off all the time. But she just took a pill, it killed her, and then she came out as a walker and attacked Negan. I think again, it wasn't that bad. It was a big character to go, but I actually think she had the kindest death. They gave her the kindest death. I'm not saying her death was boring, it's a boring death. Like, she just took the pill and listening to music in a comfy coffin. Yeah. And then she just turned. To be fair, I'm not sure it gets much better than that. That might be the nicest way to go in this situation. We have Morales. Who was from season 1. He then became a savior, had Rick at gunpoint. Daryl shot him with a crossbow. Yeah, and he just perished on sight, I think. It's a similar death to this lady, but I think he just dropped immediately. It's kind of being the same as being shot, and I thought he was being a little overdramatic, so I'm going to put him here. He was interesting to see come back, though. I will say, I did like that cameo. I like that connection back to season 1 Rick. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is the, I really can't remember his name, but it's the one with Axel, one of the prisoners that, he was shot helping Maggie over the wall, I think, over the governor's, over Woodbury walls, and I think as he was climbing, he helped everyone else over, and then as he was climbing, someone, shotgunned him in the back. I think it was the guy that Rick saw Shane. So Rick saw Shane, and then he, cocked the shotgun, and then shot... What was his name? Oscar. It was Oscar. I think it was Oscar. That shit was sad. I wish he survived longer. I don't think he would have been a character that would have made it crazy far into the show. But for a fact, I would have liked to have seen him a little longer. But he was just shot. It's whatever. Being shot in the head's a bit nicer, I think. We'll put him here. Yeah, I think that's more... That's fair. That's fair. These two kind of suffered the same fate. But then, being shot in the head is a lot quicker way to go, isn't it? Whereas these guys would have, suffered a bit more. So, head. I think head. Head. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Being below dawn isn't that bad because it means they didn't suffer as... No, they suffered more. Yeah, they suffered more. My fault. They suffered more because they were the head is an instant out. When my PC decides to stop sucking cock. There we go. Now, see, I don't really know what way to order them now. Like, because I was putting dawn at the bottom for disrespect, but like, that's actually the better end to be. But whatever, they're all shot in the head. It's whatever. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is another death that just shouldn't have fucking happened. It is my man, Carl. It was like much more of a build-up death. You know, he was bit in the stomach trying to help someone. We didn't actually see him get bit. We just saw the marking in the mirror. And then he just slowly bled out and had time with his family. Not gonna lie though, I think if I was bit, don't get me wrong, it depends on the situation. Like, if I was bit alone, or if I was bit, like, with strangers, I would rather be put out of my misery. But, like, he got to, like, write letters and spend time with his family and say goodbye to people before he went. So I think that was one of the... It's not a boring odd death, but I think it's one of the kinder ones. So I'm gonna put him after Sasha, you know, I'll put... It's mad love there, it's mad respect for both of them. Do you know what I mean? But, again, if you think I'm wrong, let me know. But suffering the fever, I know I have said that must suck, but like, again, I think everyone around him, I think that's what I would have liked if I still had my loved ones around me. Next up, this guy was the doctor, I think, at Hilltop. It was Dr. Carson. Whenever he was helping Gabriel with his blindness, I think the saviors had him captured. Carson reached for a gun and just got himself shot. So, and, yeah, he was the doctor, so pretty shitty way to go. But he was shot instantly and died. I'll put him here because I don't think he was shot in the head, but as soon as he was shot, he was out, so. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after some research, the next guy was called Gavin. He did the, trade for the saviors with the kingdom. Ezekiel, Carol, and Morgan had him, right? He was sat there begging and pleading, and then as Morgan goes to stab him with his spear, he gets stabbed from behind through the neck with his spear by, is it Henry? Like, when Henry was little. So Henry killed him. Just a non-blunt wooden object piercing you. I don't know how a child was able to develop that much force with a... Literally, the end of the stick was like this. That is quite literally impossible. Anyway... that bitch would have hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I think it would be faster. I'll put it in not that bad. Whatever. I think it would be faster than these. Again, the idea of being bit fucks me off, but we'll say it's not that bad. You know, I really don't care about him enough as a character to keep this going. Right, ladies and gentlemen, another death where I'm like, yeah, motherfucking Jared. This was the guy that shot Benjamin, Henry's brother. This was the scumbag that would make all the deals and the trades with the kingdom so much worse. All he did was escalate. The long-haired rat, greasy fuckface who just deserved to go in the most brutal way. And holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, we got what we wanted. This motherfucker was fighting Morgan, tried to kill Morgan. There was like this fencing thing. Morgan held him up against the fence, and he basically got what Noah got. Holy shit, it was brutal. Extremely brutal, may I say. I mean, it's got to go up here. I think I would rather Glenn and Abraham's death than what Benjamin got. Not Benjamin, fucking Jared got. Jared got a little nicer version, a little nicer than what Noah got. I think being trapped and having all of them behind you and you got nowhere to go and they just tear you apart, I think that's, in my opinion, the worst way to go in the whole show. By far. It's disgusting. Yeah. Fuck that shit. But he deserved it. He got it. I'm so glad. See, why do Noah like that? But, like, do Jared like that? That's calm. That's good. That's what we want. Noah did not deserve that shit. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, fuck Jared. Actually, Jared's on here twice. I swear he is. I remember this from... Yeah, he's here. Let's just move his bitch ass. That 2 bitches up there. Yeah, fuck you, Jared. Next up, we got Simon. I think he just lost to a fight with Negan. I think if I was in a zombie apocalypse, I think losing a fight... Don't get me wrong. Getting your ass beat in front of these people would suck. You know, getting your ass handed to you. But, like, yo, I'll take getting my ass whooped over being eaten, dude. I think it's worse than being shot, though. I'm gonna put it in and not that bad. On the worst end, I think. Because getting beaten up will hurt, and then he got choked out in Missionary. Next up, I think this is Aaron's partner. I can't remember if they were married, so I'm just gonna say partner. The boyfriend or husband, Eric. I think Eric was just shot and then he bled out. I believe so. But I know for a fact it wasn't like a crazy, painful death. Not that I know what it feels like, but you know what I mean? It wasn't like being ripped apart or being bit or something. I don't think. So we'll put him here. Gregory, this motherfucker needed to go so much sooner than he did. Did they hang him? Daryl sends the horse away to, yeah, they hung Gregory. Yeah, being hung is crazy. That shit would suck. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'd rather, it's gonna suck so much cock. I don't know where I would put it. I don't know. This is kind of a weird way to rank stuff. This kind of, would I rather, no, this is weird. But he got what he deserves. I'm just more focused on the fact that it's, yeah. All I can think is, cool. Question is, let's just pick one and say what I would rather be hung. No, I would rather Bob's death than be hung. Okay, so that's a start. Would I rather be bit in the arm or hung? I think I'd rather be bit in the arm and then being put out of my misery. Would I rather be stabbed by my sister or hung? I think I'd rather be stabbed by my sister. It would piss me off, but I'd rather that. Bit than bleed out around my loved ones? Yeah, I'd rather that. Wait, if I'd rather it, then that means it's not as brutal. So this means it is brutal. I'd rather Bob's death. I think I'd rather the governor's death. His death. No, he got ripped apart. He got sworded, then ripped apart. Yeah, again, I'd be so scared of them all hurtling around me with just nothing I can do. Yeah, we'll put Gregory there. That is indeed a goddamn. But it was more like a finally, in my opinion. Okay, this next pussy's name is Justin. He's the prick that, like, told, Daryl they needs to be put on a leash, and then Rick was like, stitches won't fix what I do to you. I believe he was, like, he was either attacked or he was bit. I know he came back as a walker. There's, like, a hole in his chest. Maybe he was shot. Either way, I think he was just shot and bled out, so he's with the gang down here. I personally think he deserved worse, the cocky fuck. So, I would put him... It's not as nice. Yeah, again, I think he probably had a worse death than these. Probably there, boring on death. Next up, I know this one hurt a lot of people. I wasn't as big into the show, like, in these later seasons, but Jesus did not need to go, dude. That was a shocking death whenever the Whisperers got him, stabbed him in the back. It was such a weird, like, scene, and then it just, all of a sudden, he just dies. Like, I don't know, they did him dirty. They did him dirty. Not a needed death. But he was stabbed in the back, and then I just think he bled out. I think I'd rather that than be beat. I'd rather that be stabbed in the throat. I'd rather that... He died pretty fast and peacefully. I'd rather that than fucking... It would piss me off to die that way, but I wouldn't want to go through a cold. If that makes sense, like, I wouldn't want to suffer. Like, he was choking and then, like, fainting and, like, you know when you have that cold and you're all hot and you're just angry and sweaty? I think Jesus, he just stabbed in the back and just fell and then just died. I hope it was fast and peaceful for bro. I'll leave him there. Not that bad. However, he deserved better. I'm not gonna lie, comparing all this shit hurts my brain. I've probably made so many mistakes. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do all the head stick people together because they're all literally the same. However, that's quite nice. Look how many people I knocked down in one. Right, let's just get this over and done with. I'm not gonna rank each character because, quite frankly, I didn't really give a fuck about any of these. Enid was kind of sad. Don't get me wrong. Henry, that was sad for mainly Carol and Ezekiel's reasoning. I personally didn't care about him. I thought he was annoying and all he did was fuck up and he just never listened. He was like a really arrogant, annoying little shit from what I can remember. Tara, she just pissed me off. I just found her annoying. I thought her solo episodes were the most snooze fest of the fucking show. We did not need those fillers. Thank you very much. I honestly didn't care. I think the saddest one was definitely Enid. However, we will rank these. The stick, the head on the stick is fucked up. But is that how they died? That is my question. I think they were killed, then beheaded. Were they? They fought, and then I believe they were beheaded. Right, let's just, I can't remember. Let's just say they were alive when they were beheaded. That is crazy. Okay, we're gonna say that they were beheaded, right? We're gonna say they were beheaded live. That's just brutal, dude. I think I'd rather be beheaded in one clean sweep, though, than have my throat bit out and I choke on my own blood. Rather be beheaded than have this shit. Then have this shit, then be torn apart, then be torn apart. That's brutal as well. That's brutal. Maybe. No, I think. But then he suffered. If they were beheaded instantly, they didn't suffer as much as he did. He was ripped apart and stabbed. He was hung. That's slow as shit. Bob suffered. I would rather Bob's death, I think. Should we put him before Bob? Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think I would rather Bob's death. The governor's was better. He was stabbed and then got put out of his misery. I think I'd rather be beheaded and just put on a stick though than fucking be hung. But the death itself, I'm dead, So if they put my head on a stick, I'm not there to care. Next up is Shane being stabbed and slowly bleeding out by your best friend. That shit is crazy. He's stabbed in the stomach. Who that's very similar to someone else. The fat guy that touched Carl, but it wasn't as aggressive. I'd rather all their deaths. I'd rather all theirs. I don't know. Would you say that, like, being stabbed or beating or having the shit kicked out of you and then choked out, which one's worse? I think Simon's is actually worse, dude. I think like having the shit kicked out of you and then someone like choking you until you can't, like, that's gotta hurt, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'd actually just rather be bit and then just slowly, yeah, fuck that. Simon can go up one. Shane, I'd rather be stabbed, I think. No, I'd rather be bit, I think. And then Shane being stabbed and bled out, yeah, we'll go with that. Because he got stabbed in the gut and then was like choking on his blood. It was coming out as he was looking at Rick. Damn you for making me do this, Shane. This was you, not me. No, because the governor got the same fucking treatment. The governor got the same treatment and they got put out of his misery. So you know what? No, the governor is mid as fuck. So the governor is mid as fuck and he can go after. Actually, no, she got bit or stabbed. I'd rather be stabbed and then put out of my misery. He got, yeah, I think the governor actually got it all right for what he fucking did. Just stabbed through the chest and then got put out of his misery. Fuck that. He had it a bit worse, I think, as well, because he got it through the throat with a wooden blunt thing. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, this is the guy that was like a fanboy of Negan, and I think Negan just beat his ass with like a rock or a stick. Hit him over the head. He's like, yeah, I am Negan, as he turned around, bang, straight to his face, and Negan just went for it. The initial blow, that's gotta suck some dick. Not gonna lie. I'd rather be shot. I'd rather die to an illness. I think I'd rather be knocked the fuck out and then beat than have like a whole samurai sword go through me. No, but it's, no, that's, yeah. These are more brutal, I think. He can go there. Actually, just because he was a prick, we'll put him down one. You know, for the show, that's a pretty average death. This was a prisoner who got, it wasn't bit on the back, but there was like a crawler. Fucking Black Ops zombies. It was a walker with like, his arm wasn't, the arm was gone, and the bone scraped his back, and he's like, guys, I'm fine. Yeah, dick. It's been 4 seconds. The guy with the long hair that Rick put the machete when he said shit happens, just beat his ass with a bat. But one hit and he was out. So I think it's worse than being shot. It was more brutal than him. It was more brutal than these. I think he went quicker than this kid, though. This kid got hit in the face with like a rock or something, and then Negan kept going. He was knocked out cold after the first hit. So he got it a bit more kind, I think. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is Sadiq. Sadiq was killed by a undercover whisperer, I believe. I believe that's what, who's actually next. I think he was next. Hold on, who killed Sadiq? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so Dante here strangles Sadiq. Now, that's pretty brutal. Being, like, the fear that'll go through your body knowing you're about to die because someone else is strangling you, that's kind of crazy. I wouldn't like that. I'll put it just after him, after Trevor. And then Dante died whenever Rosita stabbed him. She walked in, and I think she stabbed him. Yeah, being stabbed is maybe here. I'd put here. He's a grown-ass man. He can fucking take that shit a lot better than a little girl can, so he can go there. Next up, having a machete straight to your dome after the greatest main character of all time says shit happens. It's a pretty badass way to go. Not gonna lie. Dude deserved it, though. He was a pussy still. But I feel like a machete to head at the rate Rick did it. Don't get me wrong, he just kind of like dropped. Might be a nicer way to go, not gonna lie. Like, nicer. Like, he suffered, got put down. I think I'd genuinely rather a machete to my head pretty quick over being shot. No, I'll put it in front of him. It is brutal, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, that shit was fun as fuck to watch, and it was brutal. But, like, I feel, in terms of if you are the person, a machete just, and then you just drop. Do you know what I mean? See, now I don't know if I've ranked this right. Now I'm questioning myself. Are we ranking it also of brutality of what I think I would rather go through? Or, like, how it looks? Because having someone machete your head is a lot more brutal than just dying to an illness. It's so much more brutal. But he's out quicker, I feel. But it's not as brutal as being ripped apart. Yeah, you know what? I think having a machete through your head is actually more insane the more I think about it. I think it's actually worse than Shane. No, I'd say after Shane, maybe. You know what? That's fair. We'll go there. We'll go there. But being strangled, though, is intense. Like, I don't know. But we'll go with that. Machete is crazy. Next up is Lori. This is brutal. Being cut open just with a knife. No, this is one of, I can't, this is another scene I just can't watch. Ever since the first time I saw it, it just makes me so uncomfortable. I have to skip it every time. No matter what I think of Lori, no matter what, if I like her, how much I like her, dislike her, but that shit is horrible. I'd rather be put out of my misery, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'd rather just be straight up put out. But then if I was Martinez, I would also want to be put out of my fucking, not gonna lie, for the whole goddamn list, I'd rather just be put out of my fucking misery. We'll go here. No. It was a nicer version of this, I guess. Yeah, you know what? We'll put her just before Tyrese, because she got a similar treatment to Spencer, but Spencer had to go in and then everything fell out. Whereas this was, she bled out. Yeah, we'll leave it there. I got too ahead of myself with how uncomfortable the scene makes me. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we got Merle. Have your fingers bitten off by the governor, fucking head-butted, ass kicked, and then, I'm not pleading for my life. No. Bang. He was shot, though. He was shot. So technically Merle goes down here because he died to the bullet. But the fight ahead of time, fingers bit off, because his fingers were bit off, we'll put him at the front. Here's the thing though, actually no, because that counts towards his death. I would rather be ill than have my fingers bit off than shot. He had it nicer. Quicker. Fuck it, yeah, Merle had a goddamn. Merle indeed had a goddamn. I'd rather Bob's death. But then if we're counting Merle's fingers being chopped off, do we also count Bob's leg? This is so fucking difficult. I don't know why people watch these videos. I'm so indecisive. I'm such a fucking dumbass. Merle turned with I'd rather Shane's. We'll go there. We will go there. That is fair enough, I think. Next up is Milton. Kind of got the same as Shane. Stabbed and then turned. So realistically, he should be behind Shane, I feel. Andrea was bit and then shot herself. Nicer, I'd say. I'd go here. You know, not everyone got the chance to shoot themselves. You know, having to shoot yourself sucks though, but we'll put her at the bottom. When my PC loads! Sorry. I don't want to crash out in front of you guys, but this shit is really getting on my fucking nerves. I've never had this before. I seriously don't understand what's going on. There we go. Actually, she might have had one of the nicer deaths as well. Because she just was in the building when it blew up with Dr. Jenner. Should we do these two at the same time? So Dr. Jenner, and I can't remember her name, Jackie? I think it was Jackie. You know what? They low-key, he even said it himself. It's like a millisecond. So they might even go behind Sasha, because we don't know how that pill might have made her feel. So we'll go there. T-Dog bit in the throat and then jumping into a herd of them. See, that's my go right there, but again, another character that shouldn't have died. I read a rumor, I don't know how true this is. I read a rumor that they had to kill him off because he just kept showing up late to shoots. Now, allegedly, I don't know how true that is. Let me know. But if that's the reason, that's even more upsetting. It's like the same thing as like they only killed off Carl because they couldn't be bothered to pay him. If that's fucking true, that's pathetic. So you can't be bothered to pay an actor who's been there since season fucking 1 and one of the most liked and crucial characters of the show. You can't be bothered to give him a wage he deserves. But you add in about 50 characters a season that no one likes, that no one gives a shit about, that have no actual meaning or likability to the show. You add about 50 of them into the show and we'll pay them, but you won't give an actual good fucking character a pay rise. If that's true, that is the most brain dead fucking logic. We had the fucking, what was the group with like the woman who thought she was a hard ass and the musical guy, and then there was like another one, like that group there, and they were like all stood up in front of the council giving it big shit. And I'm like, why hire all these fucking meaningless, dumbass, non-give-a-fucking characters and pay them when that money could go to Chandler Riggs? Like, I don't know. That's just the way I saw it. Either way, T-Dog, why didn't you show up on time? It's a brutal way though. And it was a heroic way, but a brutal way. He dove into my worst nightmare. He quite frankly dove into my worst nightmare, being ripped apart. We're gonna put him above Jared out of respect. Next up, who's that? Oh, I think she was just shot. She was shot by Lizzie and Mika. I think she was shot by them. She was shot clean in the dome. I think it was a good shot, actually. I didn't like her. We'll put her here. Yeah, we'll put her there. We didn't see her death. This was Tara's sister, but we heard Tara after she finished the governor off. Pause. I think she just got swarmed. We didn't see it though, but again, she got swarmed and just ripped apart. That's fucking brutal. I don't know. She probably just wanted to go. She probably had yeah, we'll put her there. I know he got ripped apart. Like, there's some inconsistencies here, but I don't know. We'll put her, but we didn't see it though. We didn't see it though. No, we'll put her after Martinez. We'll put her after Martinez. Whenever my shit decides to load. There we go. There we go. She, look at the flowers, Lizzie. I said this in the previous 2 tier lists. I was screaming at my TV, Carol, give me the gun. Give me the gun. I will do it. Why are you tearing up? She killed her sister. She had the most brain dead logic. Don't get me wrong. Oh, Alex, she's a kid. How can you be that age of a child, though, and still be that shit? Like, Mika is a kid. Like, I'm talking, she's like, what? 7? Lizzie, if that's the name, is a little older and should know better. I'm gonna be real. But it was boring. Like, it was nice to watch. It was like, finally. What's that one guy? I'm sick of her ass. But she was just shot in the head. So probably whenever it loads. She could go near the person she shot, actually. That's a matchup. Next up, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, Jesse. Yeah, I was not happy when Jesse died. You know, Rick's face when he was like, no. And then he had to chop her arm off. So imagine watching your son get violated by multiple next men. And then you refuse to let go. And then they surround you and start ripping you apart, and you are not letting go of Carl. Carl! So then as you're being ripped apart, you just feel this hatchet hash away at your fucking arm. That is crazy. That might be that's worse than him. That is worse. That is fucking worse. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to our final row. Next up, we have the guy that I was on about with the melons. Pause. He was the one that got, Benjamin killed. What was his fucking name? So this guy's name was Richard, and he actually died because I believe when Morgan found out, he was so pissed, he actually strangled Richard. Strangled. So that is what we're going off. I'd say it's a little worse than... Sadiq was more brutal because he didn't deserve it. This guy deserved it, and Trevor got his ass... I can't call him Trevor. I know the actor hates that. Simon got strangled after getting his ass whooped. I think that's more brutal. Next up is the girl that actually gave Negan the baseball bat in a backstory. She fancied as well Spencer, so clearly she needed to go. This girl's name was Laura, and Laura died thinking she could throw hands with Beta. She tried her hardest, but Beta is a big bastard, and I think they were fighting in like the prison cell area. Like he went down to get one of the whispers from the prison cell, trying to defend her, and she basically just got swung into the metal bars so hard, I think she just perished. It's a bit of an honorable death. I think I'd rather Beta just beat the shit out of me in that way. Like, he literally... With the force he's gonna throw you into that metal, you're out like a light, dude. You're just gone. Probably one of the kinder ways to go. I'd rather be shot in the face, so we'll put her... He died pretty quick. He died. He might have bled out a bit. Yeah, not gonna lie. We'll go here. We'll go there. Honorable way to go, I guess. Next up we got... Who the fuck is... I have no idea. I think I struggled with this one than the last one. Oh, that's fucking Randall! No, I remember, because I think I struggled with this in the last one. And Randall, I just didn't recognize him, but I know Randall from season 2. Yeah, see, Shane killed him. Shane snapped his neck in the woods. Now, everything he went through before that with all the torture, the leg thing, if my leg was through that fence like Randall's was, I would be angry at Rick for saving me. Yo, shoot me in the fucking head. If all you're gonna do is rip my knee out, that alone is the worst thing to happen, right? Rip your knee out of the fence where the spikes went like this. How that's possible is not even real. And then to put me in a barn, beat the shit out of me, throw me, like, just kill my ass, dude. There's no point. It depends. If you're on about all the shit he went up beforehand, but Shane just snapping his neck, it was quick. Quicker than him, quicker than her, probably quicker than him. Yeah, we'll go there. I'd rather be shot dead instantly than snap my neck. Everything he went through before that, though, was brutal. But, oh, my man Dale. Light-skinned stare Dale. The GOAT. The greatest of all time. Hold on, I got some beef. Before we get into Dale. It seems like a lot of my ranked teammates have been watching the Walking Dead characters tier list. Oh my god, Alex! How could you put Dale above Daryl? How could you put Dale above this person? Right. Motherfucker, I clearly conveyed in the tier list that I didn't want to put Dale and T-Dog at the top. I did it for the fucking meme! I did it for the meme! Shitbags! You dull fucks! Dull fucks. Like, it is so... Going through some of the comments in my tier list videos, it is so embarrassing how much of this shit goes over your fucking heads, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, my opinion isn't always correct. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is what you have to think. But when I clearly make a joke about light-skinned Dale's stare has to go in the greatest of all time, above Daryl, Maggie, when he's not. But it was a joke because of memes on TikTok. You shitbag! How, like, and I got people in the comments calling me dumbass and all this type of shit, typing away. All I can say is you are my ranked teammates on Siege. And I'm sure I clearly made it obvious in the video that I fucking knew they weren't as good. That top tier was only meant for Rick. When I planned the video, Rick was the only one in there. I, in the moment, added Dale and T-Dog up there for the meme. Okay? Okay! Fuck! Sorry for crashing out, but I just... Hold on, I need a Fortnite mini. Dale being sneak attacked and then having his stomach rip open and gasping for air is brutal. He was put out of his misery though. I think having 2 hands ripped open is worse than him. We'll put Dale up in brutal. It was one walker. He ripped open his stomach. These guys were gangbanged. Next up, we got another one. He was trapped in a fucking RV camper van and got his shit ripped out of him. You saw on the windscreen the blood splatter. Yeah, it's brutal. That's going up there. Yeah, it's brutal. It's going up there. Being trapped in an RV is terrifying. That shit is fucking terrifying. I think I'd rather be Negan batted. I'm not gonna lie. Look, if you guys disagree, I'm okay with that. But dude, can you imagine an RV and they just flooded and you're like, oh. You just don't know where to go, and then they just rip you apart. It's insane. She was bit and then ripped apart. God. It's fucked up. Again with Ed. Ed deserved it, though. These two, we're gonna put them here. Bit and then ripped apart here. Come on. Yeah, she can go there. And then Ed in a tent is crazy. He deserved it, though, so we'll put him here. Again, I don't like Ed. But fuck that, in a tent is crazy. Yeah, see, he was shot in the leg, beaten the shit by Shane, because he wouldn't let go, and then ripped apart. Yeah, that's insane. That's worse than Jared. That's way worse than Jared. Is that worse than Jesse? That might be worse than Jesse, dude. Look behind you, they're all coming. You get shot in the leg, beaten the fuck out of with heavy metal. Was he hitting him with like a shotgun and a pistol? And then he's just ripped open. Yeah. Jesse, I feel like in the way Jesse went, it was faster. She didn't get the shit kicked out of her. I think I'd rather T-Dogs, because T-Dogs, you know what? I'm gonna put T-Dog down a few, because T-Dog was noble. If I had that adrenaline rush, I feel like it was better than suffering. Do you know what I mean, actually? So we'll put T-Dogs down in brutal. We'll put T-Dog at the top of brutal. I feel like the adrenaline rush and the thought of, I'm a fucking hero. Rush in. Right, it's gone off the screen right now because the tier list is getting big. But ladies and gentlemen, next up we have Diana. Fought him and then got ripped apart again. Holy shit, can we leave this out? Again, I feel the adrenaline might have kicked in. Again, there's a common theme in particular areas. There's so many inaccuracies here, dude. I'd rather go out like Diana did. If I'd rather go out like Diana, that means she goes down this way. So whenever this shit fucking loads, we'll put her... I still would rather be ripped. I don't want to be ripped apart, though. I'd rather him. Yeah, but she was more noble. And so, because T-Dog was more noble, bang. I gotta remember, sometimes going down this way is the better way to go. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Alpha. I can't even remember how Alpha died. So, Negan slits Alpha's throat. We have another slit throat. Right. Alpha can go by the other guy but I feel like he got it worse with the fucking samurai sword. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, you can't see, we've gone too big. Gamma is next. Gamma is like the, you'll see her picture in a minute. She had the baby. She was the whisperer with the baby. She got stabbed to death by Beta, apparently. So where should we put her? I'd rather be choked by Morgan. I don't know if I'd want to be stabbed to death by Beta. Like, that's a big fucking dude. I'd rather Tyrese's death than stabbed to death by Beta. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't rather Lori's. I would not rather Lori's. Maybe here. Maybe I'm overdoing that one. But being throat slit sucks. Dude, is there anyone else that got stabbed to death that, like, is close? He did, but he got gutted. That's completely different. You know what? No, being stabbed is not as bad as fucking, yeah. We'll put her after Shane. How about that? He got stabbed. Oh, yeah, Milton. I feel like being stabbed by Beta, multiple, but you might go faster. Milton was left to suffer. Milton was indeed left to suffer. Hold on. Milton had it worse, so we'll go there. Also, machete through the head is quicker. It's quicker. It's quicker. It's more insane, but it's quicker. The final 3, ladies and gentlemen, again, you can't see, we have, wait, did I get... I got someone wrong. Who did I get wrong? Unless he's on here twice. Is this not Eric? See, look, if I fucked up, do they not look similar? Right, well, here's Eric. This is Eric. This is Aaron's partner, boyfriend, husband. I can't remember if they were married. Fuck's sake. Right, I'm hoping that otherwise they look extremely similar and there's no way of me finding out who this is. So if anyone knows who this is, whether they've added 2 pictures of Eric, I'm gonna leave them both there. But there is no I don't recognize that person. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tobin. Again, you'll see his picture in a minute. The Saviors attack Hilltop, and then someone cuts Tobin in the chest, and then he gets infected from it, I believe, and then he turns. Again, it's sort of similar with the other people who turned. Cut in the chest, then turn, and just like talking to your loved ones. Yeah, maybe near Jim. Yeah, this is Tobin right here. We'll put him. Is that fair enough? I feel like that's more brutal, actually. We didn't see how he died. I feel like he suffered more than Jesus. He suffered more than her, suffered more than him, and him, and him. He was quite peaceful, I feel. She got to put herself out of misery. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where to put Tobin. I've lost Tobin. Where the fuck did he go? Oh, he's here. And not that bad. Yeah, I mean, I would rather Tobin than being hit in the face, actually, with a rock, and then Negan beats the shit out of me. He went quick. I can't rearrange because my shit is lag. There we go. I think Tobin probably had it worse than him, though. There, that's fair. That's fair. Oh my god. There's so many factors to this shit, guys. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, the last person you cannot see that is on here is Sophia. Now, Sophia, we don't actually see what happens to Sophia. We just see her when she comes out of the barn. What we presume is she got lost and she was bit, and then Otis then found her in the woods and brought her back to the barn. So, if that is the case, she would have suffered the fever and turned. Who else on here suffered the fever and turned? And she was all alone whilst that happened. A little girl alone in the woods. You know, that's pretty fucked up. Maybe just before Jim? Is that fair? I mean, I'm not calling Sophia's death boring. You know, it was very impactful, but, you know, we don't see it. We just presume she gets bit and then just turns. And then she just wanders around. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have a quick scan. I don't think there's anything I will change. I think I've done this alright pretty first time around. If you have any disagreements, obviously let me know. But there's so many factors into it of the action of this is more brutal. But me personally, I would rather this over this, if that makes sense. That's sort of what I was going for. You know, if I was the person, would I rather go this way or go this way? That's kind of my brutality. You know, as you could say that going out away up here isn't as bad as having a machete straight to your dome. You know, a machete straight to the dome is not a common way to go. It's quite brutal. I feel it's a lot nicer way out than what some of these people had to go through, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna have a quick scan, and then we'll see if I change anything. Not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen, I think out of every factor, I think that's the best I can get it. You know, we have the people at the top that are just horrendously trapped in with a bunch of walkers. We have the Negan bat, we have Herschel's beheading, we have the throat bite. Under that, we got some people with different aspects of being hit with a herd, or being munched on, or being ripped apart, or, do you know what I mean, or just different aspects. I think there's different factors that make it worse for me, and it all depends on how well it's shot and everything else. You know, it is a fucking TV show, remember that. And then near the bottom, don't get me wrong, there's still shitty ways to go, but these people maybe went a lot faster, or it's not as like an impactful way. Like, as I said, being shot is a lot nicer than being torn open by about 50 of them bastards. So that's sort of how I tried to rank it. However, ladies and gentlemen, that is the wrap up of my 4th ever Walking Dead themed tier list. If you haven't seen the other 3, again, go show them some love. If you haven't seen the other 3, I've done the Walking Dead characters, character deaths, and Rick Grimes phases tier list. They all have performed very well, and I can do nothing but thank you for the support on them. It truly meant a lot to me. I hope this one is just as entertaining, or you enjoyed this one just as much. What is the most important thing of the video is that it made you laugh, it made you smile, that it distracted you from whatever you may be going through in your life. Cool! Again, if you disagree or you agree or you would change some things, again, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I love these tier lists because they spark so much conversation in the comments, even if you guys are mean sometimes. or just pure brain dead. But yeah, let me know if you think I did someone too dirty, too nice, or you think there's a different way, or you personally think that this way to go is a lot worse. As well as all my tier list videos, if you want to do the tier list yourself and then send it to me on like Instagram or any of that, I will happily look at it. Speaking of Instagram, go follow that shit. You will find that in the description. And whilst you're in the description, you had better already be subscribed. But whilst you're in there, you may as well check out all the links down there and make sure you're following, subscribed, or whatever the fuck it is to every single thing down there. And if you guys do want more tier list videos, again, it's simple. All you gotta do is smack the subscribe button on the face, turn on the notification bell, leave a like on the video, and drop a comment down below of what tier list you would like to see. It doesn't have to be Walking Dead themed, or if you have an idea about Walking Dead theme, boom, drop it down there. I have an idea already, and it has been suggested before. It is the seasons. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to ramble on. Again, thank you so much for watching. I love you. I will see you guys in the next tier list video, siege video, LS video, vlog, whatever shit comes out next. Oh, peace! God!